Hey everybody, Sayre at Nova once again. And this week we have another Norton. This one is a very pretty, I'd say tastefully redone Norton Commando. I think it's a 71, not 100% sure on it. I haven't checked numbers on it yet. Just came in the door today. I think, there's a whole world of bikes that were in this would be called a Restomod, meaning it's mostly, it's a rebuild that's very true to the original shape of the bike, original looking tank and stuff like that, but has some changes. This Corbin seat, different handlebars, little touches like gold on the exhaust nuts there, and some other things like got CR carbs on this thing, which is kind of crazy. But mostly stock restoration. It's been repainted. A lot of stuff has been redone on it. And it's here because we are facilitating basically the sale of it. Somebody is selling it to somebody else. They've already made a deal, and we're just here to look it over, give it a once over, make sure it's as it should be. Basically the professionals' touch on it. So it's cool. I'm excited to look at it. So I decided to dig into it. This particular one, as I started to say, has some interesting details on it. The wheels, these look like Harley replica wheels to me. They're Baranis, but they got this high center of the hub here, excuse me, of the rim, very much like the Sportsters, the 60s, and 40-hole wheel, which would match 19-inch, which would also match for those bikes. So I think those are replica Sportster things. Redone with stainless spokes, probably sent out to Buchanan's for that kind of thing. I believe he said he got the rims from Buchanan's. I think the motor is stock as far as I can tell. Although I'm a little curious, I believe the owner didn't build the motor. And the use of these CR carbs on it is, it raises my eyebrows anyway. That's something you typically see on a race bike. So using it on a street bike, especially when it has a stock cam, may not be what I would consider to be the first decision on where to go with it, unless you really have a built motor in there. So it's possible there is a built motor, or it's possible that somebody's just putting a little bling on there. That being said, the CR carbs are miles ahead technologically wise to the AMO Mark 1s that were on there before the concentrics on there. They actually have far more better functioning idle circuits, even though they are racing carb. They can just be a little bit rough on the street. Transitions and things can be tough on them. So I'm curious to see how it runs on this. The current owner, says he loves it, runs fantastic, and I have no reason to doubt it. I just have not seen them before on a street bike that is in otherwise stock trim. But yeah, in general, this thing is very tidy. Someone has spent a lot of time on it, a lot of money on it, a lot of effort on it, cleaning it up, making everything nice and shiny, to the degree that we're tracking down very small oil leaks. You can see a little oil here on the head. Haven't looked at where that's coming from. Little oil in the gasket on the valve cover, which is relatively normal. But again, this is the level of detail we're going into on this thing because it's overall pretty good. A couple interesting mods here. You can see in the oil line here, this is the anti-wet sumping valve. This is basically an inline check valve. It's just a spring-loaded ball that stops the oil from coming from the oil tank into the bottom end while it's sitting and not being used. Wet sumping is we have a little short on it. It's something that's a common problem on any dry sump bike where the oil is held elsewhere. It just wants to go down regardless of your best hopes and intentions. Another thing this thing has, which you can't see, but underneath it has the reed breather modification, which takes the sump plug and puts a reed valve right in it. And that is the reed valve is a one-way valve. It has two purposes on a Norton. It functions as the breather, which means that the air that gets pushed by the pistons from moving goes out, and then it doesn't allow it back in, and that creates negative pressure in the crankcase. It's a common breather mod on, it's a common retrofit on older bikes that have a lot of leaking issues. Creating negative crankcase pressure basically pulls in a little bit so the oil doesn't want to get pushed out, and also kind of helps things move a little faster in there, less resistance. The second thing it does, though, is it's very efficient at evacuating that wet sumping that happens. So the manufacturers of these things claim that one or two kicks will completely evacuate the crankcase of whatever oil has collected. So this bike should have no excuse for wet sumping. It's got two anti-wet sumping issues in it, and that's repairs in it. So that's kind of cool. Cool thing about Nortons, the side thing is there's a lot of love for them, and there's a lot of aftermarket support. You have people like Colorado Norton Works and NYC Norton building aftermarket things. You have RGM. You have the Andover Norton, which took over the old Norton Villiers product line and keeps going with them. So you can build a Norton Commando from new parts, all from the ground up. It wouldn't be cheap, but you can buy it and do it all, as well as the aftermarket stuff like those breather valves, these anti-sumping valves and stuff. There are frame modifications, little things. Oh yeah, suspension modifications. Has these Lansdowne cartridge inserts in here, which are cartridge inserts that make the fork perform as a cartridge fork far better than the original road holders did. Road holders were great for their time, but this takes a little bit of modern technology and is tunable from the outside. I'm actually going to put a set of these in my Velocette race bike that I'm using Norton road holders on for the front end. So another example of cool aftermarket upgrades for Commandos. Goes to show one of, I'm biased, but the Commando, I should say, is one of the most fun vintage bikes to own because they for their time they handle and ride very well. 2-cylinder motor, torquey and fun. The isolastics they don't want to rattle your teeth out, so you get the best of both worlds with the gruntiness of a twin, but it's not trying to rattle your teeth out and put your butt to sleep as some of the Sportsters and Triumph twins and earlier Norton twins and BSA twins would do. So you get all that, plus you get all the Go Fast goodies that people have developed over the past 40, 50 years of these things being around. People love them, and they put a lot of effort into making them better and better. So you can really build one of these and buy one of these. That is really cool. Looks classic and goes pretty good for a vintage bike, enough to get into trouble. So yeah, we'll hopefully get a pic of this running, at least get a short of it before it goes out the door. I don't expect to have it here for too long because it again looks very nice, and I'm just going to have to check some things on it and of course see how it rides and send it out the door again. Yeah, chime in with your Norton stories, or if you don't like them, tell us why. I love people who don't agree with me, and if you're watching, please like and subscribe, and again, thanks for watching.